In this video, I'm making a twist mosaic Damascus for a small Quillian dagger. For this dagger, I decided to make a composite 2-bar mosaic twist pattern Damascus. I love twisting mosaic Damascus patterns because when you twist that bar up really tight, it really changes the pattern a lot, and sometimes you come up with some very unique and unexpected patterns. There's 2 stages to this pattern. First is to make the mosaic Damascus base, and then to twist it up tight and make a dagger blade out of it. I begin with the W layer billet by heating it up nice and piping hot, and then forge weld all the layers of steel together using the power of my hydraulic press. Once the billet's forge welded, it's essentially one solid piece, and I then draw it out into a nice long bar. It's time to cut the bar up into 3 pieces, re-stack, re-MIG weld, and then re-forge weld the billet together. This will triple the number of layers in the billet. After forge welding the billet, this time I don't draw it out into a long piece. I leave it pretty thick and short because we're going to combine our straight layer billets on each side of this billet, so I don't want it to be very long. Now I begin working on the straight layer billet. It's going to go around the outside of the W layer billet, kind of like Oreo cookie on the outside of the cream filling. As with the previous billet, I heat it up piping hot and forge weld it together and begin drawing out the billet. I need this billet to be twice as long as the W layer billet. So I'm going to cut it in half and put half of it on the top of the W and the other half on the bottom of the W layer billet. I grind all the scale off of both billets and begin combining the 3 pieces together. Instead of an Oreo cookie, maybe an ice cream sandwich is a better illustration of what I'm making. I forge weld the 2 normal size billets into one massive billet and begin drawing out the entire thing. Right now, all the cool patterning is on the end of the billet. I want to make it so the pattern goes across the billet on an angle, so I re-square the billet to make that happen. To make the mosaic pattern interesting on the end of the bar, it's time to 4-way the billet. I grind all the scale off and cut the billet into 4 pieces. I don't put all 4 pieces on top of each other. I combine 2 stacks of 2 and then add those together to give a 4-way. The pattern's looking really cool. I love the W's in the center, and the straight layer billets on the outside look really cool too. Once again, it's time to get this billet in the forge, heat it up to a nice piping hot 2300 degrees, and forge weld it together with the press. I use squaring dies because I can press from all 4 sides at the same time, pressing all 4 of those bars together. If you're finding this video informative, you'll also like our membership called Knife Maker Plus. Once you become a member, you'll get monthly videos where I teach you new skills that will benefit you for the rest of your knife making journey. We're currently working on a small Quillian dagger. This dagger build will have 4 episodes showing in detail how to make this Damascus dagger. Each episode will be released on the 1st of every month. The video that you're watching now is actual content from the membership. We had to shorten it a lot to make it more entertaining for YouTube, so keep that in mind. Think of this video as a teaser trailer for episode 1. In episode 1, I go way more in detail showing you how to make this Damascus and things to do and not to do. I also clearly illustrate each step of making this twisted mosaic steel, so you can see clearly what's going on with the layers as we develop it into a pattern. After you set the welds, all you would do is take that billet, rotate it 90 degrees, and press it down with all the layers being vertical. I want everything to be pressed down at the same rate. So by making a little sheath to fill in this area, we'll be able to forge weld everything together in the hydraulic press and have it all pressed down at the same time. We don't want that W layer going across the billet like this. We actually want it to go across from corner to corner. So in order to do that, we're gonna take our billet and we're gonna rotate it 45 degrees, just like what you see here. Once you become a member, you'll get instant access to episode 1, which is over 2 hours long, showing you how to make this composite mosaic 2-bar twist pattern Damascus. We try to video the membership content as best we can to make you feel like you're actually in my shop learning from me one-on-one. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, then check out the link in the description. Membership is only $25 a month. Be sure to get your membership before the 10th, because after the 10th, enrollment will be closed for the next 4 months. So join the #1 knife making membership and learn the skills you need to make better knives. After forge welding, I draw the bar out into a piece that's about 3/4 of an inch square and prepare it for twisting. It's time to twist this bar nice and tight. When I'm done twisting, I want this to look like a finely threaded all-thread rod. I'm careful to only twist half of the bar at a time. The reason being, I want half of the bar to be right-hand twist and the other half of the bar to be left-hand twist. Later on, I'll cut the bar in half and make each half of the dagger out of one twist and the other. That way we'll have alternating twists going down the blade, giving a subtle chevron effect. Someday I would love to get a machine that would twist up the bars nice and tight for me, but I don't have that right now, so I do it the old-fashioned way with a pipe wrench with extended arms welded to it. After several heats, I ended up twisting the right hand and the left hand twists 28 times each. After finishing the right and left hand twists, I cut the bar in half and weld handles to each bar. That way I can easily put them back in the forge to heat them up and square them back up into a nice usable square stock. I want the pattern in this Damascus dagger to come together at the very tip of the blade. I tack weld the alternating twisted bars together and forge a curve on the end of the bars that represents the curve that the blade will have when it comes together at the tip. Next, I cut off the excess material from making that curve for the tip of the blade. I then make flat parallel surfaces using the milling machine and surface grinder. Before I can forge weld this billet together, I need to make what I call a sheath for the end of the blade. That's just a mild steel piece that goes over the tip of the blade so that when I forge weld everything together, it all reduces at the same rate and forge welds together and draws out the same as the rest of the blade. With the 2 twisted bars and the sheath material all MIG welded, it's time to get this back in the forge for its final forge welding heat. I forge weld the dagger blade together and gently begin drawing out the blade. After drawing out and tapering the blade to match my dagger sketch, I then roughly forge out the tang that'll go through the handle. You may have noticed the blade is extremely thick at this point. It's almost 3/4 of an inch thick. The finished blade only needs to be 1/4 inch or less. I left it that thick so I could grind away excess material on each side of the blade. That will reveal a really cool pattern in the center. This is something you want to do with a lot of the really tight twist patterns. The deeper you grind into the billet, the more really pretty pattern you reveal. I grind off that excess material to reveal the pattern in the middle of the billet with the surface grinder. You could also use a bandsaw or something like that if you have one that's capable.
Spin the wheel of technicality.
After a quick etch in the ferric chloride, here is the 2-bar composite mosaic twist pattern Damascus Dagger blade. I still have to remove the sheath material from the tip area, and as I grind the bevels in the blade, this Damascus pattern is going to continue to get more aggressive and cool looking. I will see you in the next video. May the forge be with you. Bye-bye! Don't forget to check out the #1 knife making membership before enrollment closes.